Where are we going? We need to figure that out now. We have a few days.
YouTube. It's YouTube. Now, I know a lot of people aren't hopping over there and a lot of people are being naysayers, but please, please watch this video and then share it, send it to all your friends, duet it, because I think that people don't realize what is waiting for us over at YouTube. A lot of things have changed in the last few months that people probably don't realize. YouTube Shorts is basically TikTok a couple of years ago as far as content creation. It's capped at a minute. You can upload up to 3-minute videos. Uploading is a little tricky, but you can stitch. They call it cuts. You can do a version of duets. I don't remember what they call it. And this is really important for building community. You can reply to every single comment on every single YouTube video with a 1-minute video. And that's one way I think we're going to get people to start to come over, is start having conversations over on YouTube. There's a lot of other really dope benefits to YouTube, like hyperlinks. Hyperlinks actually work on YouTube. So screw just a link in the bio. You can put a link to your whatever in the comment of every single video, or the description of every single video. In comments, you can link outside the app all you want. I just spent the last week doing this, so I know that it works. The algorithm is dope. It is really effective, but you have to follow people and comment and like, and follow actual people who are actually making shorts like every day, and your feed will be, it'll be dope. There's a lot of other benefits, too many to really list here right now. I'll make a video over on YouTube Shorts, because for me personally, starting tomorrow, I've been on a hiatus for about 18 months, and that stops tomorrow. I'm going to start posting all the time, but not just shorts. I also, make long form YouTube videos. I'll be going live. I'm also live. This is a new change. You could go live with other people like you do on TikTok. But if you want to follow me, just Joey Helpish on YouTube. I will be teaching as I learn, and I would love to have people to just make videos with back and forth, and just, try to build something and have some fun. Oh, and there's one thing that is lacking from YouTube, and that is DMs. I think that we get around that for now by using Blue Sky. So I really think the move is YouTube and Blue Sky. On Blue Sky, you can also, you don't get punished for hyperlinks there. Hyperlinks work there. So you can link in between Blue Sky and YouTube rather easily. So I think that's the move. Follow all your buddies on Blue Sky and YouTube, and start making some stuff on YouTube Shorts. I hope you have a badass day, and I love you.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining me here for Conversations with Taz. Real quick note, hot off the presses, Biden has officially stated that the enforcement of the TikTok ban will not occur. So, it will not occur. It will not be enforced. There will be no penalties. So we'll see if anything changes. He's basically going to leave it in the hand of Trump. That was a interesting Reagan reversal.
Why is the mailroom being flooded with prayers?
California's on fire.
Feels like they should be flooded with prayers. Or water.
There was also an earthquake in Tibet.
And 126 people died? Real shaky start to the year. Jesus.
Hey, have you heard about the incoming quademic?
Ugh, one-uppers. Oh, my me. Where is Mother Nature? You missed.
I'll find her.
Good. Because I need to know what she's up to. Oh, this decade is exhausting.
With all the stresses between confirmation hearings, California fires, lies regarding the California fires, and everything else going on, a little chuckle would be needed. Now, before we get into the top political topics, we got to talk about Drake. Yes, we got to talk about Aubrey and his angels. Get comfy. Hope you have a snack and a beverage. I'll see you in 2 and 2.
Did Drake just snitch on himself, bro? I know y'all heard what DJ Academic said about LeBron, right? But he also said that Drake facilitates women for LeBron when he gets there. What do you mean by facilitate? Do you mean facilitate in the way this guy facilitates? Do you have a collection of women waiting to be used for actual exploitation? And how deep does that rabbit hole go? Where do these women come from? How did you get them to agree? We gotta ask all these questions considering that you rock with Baka Not Nice. I'm not saying that it's trafficking, I'm not trying to say that. But I do find it very interesting. I do think that that's something we might need to look into. Because it might not be just as simple as, oh, these girls want to come mess with us and boom, boom. It might be a little deeper than that. I don't know. Maybe Meet the Graham said something about this. Did it? I don't know. Maybe Kendrick Lamar was on to something when he was... Wait. This is getting interesting. TikTok might be getting banned, so click the link in my bio to subscribe to my YouTube. Drake might have ruined DJ Academics, bro. You should all know by now that Drake got...
DJ Academics, you bitch ass nigga. That Canadian chameleon lied straight to your face. Made you put your fat ass neck on the line about those screenshots that he knew were real. Told you to say they were wrong. And you went out there and you did it like the good little boy that you are. And then you find out they're real and you look dumb. But instead of just taking and holding your L, you double down. Now you're fighting LeBron James. Glorious King LeBron James. For someone who lies to your fucking face and won't even sit on your stream. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Academics always sticking his mouth or something, getting in the middle of things. That's what he do. And he would not let the tension rest. All right, so a little bit background. Remember, Drake dropped the Fighting Irish freestyle, right, where he took shots at LeBron, and then the freestyle he mentioned tarnishing someone's image. So fans automatically just went to Drake dropping some receipts on Bron cheating or whatever, right? Now fast forward. Ack hops on the stream to give more details about what he allegedly knows about Bron being unfaithful.
Yo, LeBron, you and Drake used to go on two mans, okay? You've been cheating on your goddamn wife. Drake used to facilitate the whole, and basically, you can't dance to a song about him being a pedophile. He used to supply you with the bitch. I'm sorry, my Yes, if I'm Drake, I snitch on you too. Sorry, buddy. You can't do that. No. You've been living a lie, and everybody been thinking you're this perfect guy. When you come to Canada, you know you come to certain places. I'm supplying you with the white women you love. You don't even like black chicks. White women.
You know, his little fat ass be jumping out there like full throttle. He don't even care. Like, now, granted, all this is alleged, and the people wasn't feeling it at all. Ack was actually being dragged for being the person in the middle.
That's a hell of an accusation to make about LeBron James, Ack. And my question would be, why? Like, what is the reason to go this hard for Drake? I need to know why. Because when Ack says things like that, he's making himself liable. What if Bron sues you? Is Drake gonna cover your lawyer fees?
You're probably telling him he will do that.
I want to know what's Drake's riz to Ack. That's what I want to know. What is Drake telling Ack that's putting the battery in Ack back to make him want to jump out the window like this?
Well, not only that, for Ack, when you get in somebody's personal life and personal business, why do you go that far? Like, you know, say he's a trash player, say he's a trash rapper, say you don't like his hairline, say, you know, whatever you want to say about that man personally, but when you start adding his family into that fold, that's when stuff gets nasty. And like what Charlamagne said, unless they got proof,
I know
LeBron got some money for some lawyers.
Exactly. I know you get on your chat and you want to entertain people, or you might even want to come to the defense of Drake, but you got to think about what you're doing. You're talking about somebody's family. You're talking about somebody's wife. You're saying things that could potentially cause him to get a divorce, which potentially is going to cost him a whole hell of a lot of money. You think somebody not going to go to the mat to defend that?
What? He got to go, like you said, he got to go home and deal with that now. Yes, I'm putting everything behind. It's going to be Big Bang, take a little bit.
You got to think about that before you know, after you hang up with Drake and Drake's feeding you certain things. You can't just get on your chat and say anything. You got to think about what you got to protect.
And if Drake is feeding him,
of course Drake's feeding him.
Why Drake don't say it? You know what I mean? Like, all right, you say it.
Well, Drake alluded to it. Drake said, I want to tarnish your public image on the Fighting Irish. Then he said that thing in the DM.
That thing,
he said the thing in the DM about this is like Nike.
With Chris,
Nike issuing on their own client,
Yes.
And then something about cheating on his wife in the DM with Chris. Yeah, you're
Drake
right.
know what he doing.
Yeah, he do.
And he's setting Ack up for a dummy mission.
I was ready to say he using Ack, because a lot of that will fall on not back on Drake.
That's
so
right.
that's just what the mess.
I got a message for academics. If you're not academics, make sure you send this to him. Because I was yesterday years old when I realized academics has never even met Drake. And yeah, it's kind of weird that he's been holding Drake's umbrella and carrying his water with nary a invite to a listening session or a...
There's so many conversations that could be had regarding Aubrey and his angels and him indiscriminately jumping into battles that he can't win. And speaking of jumping into battles that he can't win, the lawsuit, yeah, they laughed at that because they said, hey, you were our greatest asset. We put all of our money and resources behind you because you were our cash cow. You choose to jump in the arena when you know you're not a fighter. This is what happens when you look at Black culture as a costume, a trend, something to just put on. You don't get the nuance. You don't get the complexities that go into being Black. Being Black is not simple. And I'm not saying that, don't come over here going, oh, she's going to talk about oppression. Blackness is not simplistic. It is not linear. It is not binary. See, Black culture isn't a series of stories or a series of songs or a series of movements or hairstyles or clothing. Black culture is the Black people, and we are not a simplistic people. This is why a lot of times when we speak, it's melodic to you because we speak in verse. We speak poetically. We are able to understand poetically. We are art in motion. This is why we can look at each other and appreciate the art within one another, and you can too. And Drake is also a prime example. And I know some people don't want to have a conversation, but we got to have a conversation. And it's not about having the conversation in front of company. Every conversation is eventually going to be in front of company because the moment that somebody feels that they're being defeated, they're going to tell somebody outside the family anyway. But this is why we say the products of white mothers can be dangerous and detrimental because you cannot take the most dangerous creature on the planet and let them take the helm of raising children and not expect for those children to be the henchmen of the greatest villains the world has ever known. Trump has positioned himself into the greatest Karen chameleon we've ever seen. And the vast majority of his fan base, that Venn diagram between the mindset that has people following Trump, that has people willing to be incels, that has people willing to be red pills, and Aubrey's angels, that's looking like a real circle right about now. Because what Drake produces and what he puts out is pop with Black culture wrapping paper. Because once you take it out the paper, it's just pop music. Now, from one interesting, we'll say, musician to the next, because this is also a conversation that needs to be had. As an artist, it is okay to have a muse, but boundaries need to be appropriate. Not sure what I'm talking about? Let's take a look at this snippet regarding Sia.
The moment this song was released, it wasn't supposed to be released. You remember Sia, the very talented artist that never showed her face? But there was a reason for that. Y'all wouldn't stop making fun of her. Before this music video comes out, Sia made it publicly known she suffers from anxiety and showed her face once and got cooked. She didn't want to be on stage. She created a song called Diamonds, but instead of releasing it, gave it to Rihanna because she knew one day she would have to perform it in front of people. That's when she met a guy named David and did what she normally does and wrote a song for him and even sent him a clip of how it's supposed to be sung. So he takes the song and tries to find somebody to sing it. He asks Katy Perry, she says no. He asks Alicia Keys, she says no. He goes back to Sia and says, Sia, please let me use your voice on the song. No one else can sing it like you. So she agrees and the song blows up, triple platinum. But remember, she refuses to be on stage. That means no music videos, no concerts, and no one sees what she looks like. So she wasn't present in the music videos. She was so scared to be seen, she would walk around in brown paper bags. That's when Sia met a girl named Maddie from the show Dance Moms. She saw a lot of herself in her and looked at Maddie sort of like an artistic muse of herself. So she asked her, only 11 by the way, to be the version of her that she always wanted to be. And she made her the star of her biggest music video ever called Chandelier. But this is where it got a little strange. Everywhere you saw Sia, you saw Maddie. Sia would refuse to write songs unless the video featured Maddie. She would only perform on stage facing the crowd if Maddie was with her. Otherwise, she had her back turned while performing. She wouldn't go to award shows without her, wouldn't walk the red carpet without her, but this is fine, right? She's becoming a star. That's until Sia had another idea. Sia decided to release a movie called Music about a teenage nonverbal autistic girl being adopted. And she chooses Maddie to play the role of the teenage girl on the spectrum, but she's not on the spectrum. Actually, even Maddie didn't think this was a good idea. She told Sia she felt like she was making fun of people on the spectrum and even cried at the fact she was forced to do the role. You're wondering, well, how was she forced? Maddie was the face of Sia's entire brand, so to make sure she never leaves, she had her under a contract. And that's why a lot of people accuse Sia of financially grooming her, because when the movie comes out, they're calling it out left and right. Calling it out, saying it's one of the most harmful and hurtful movies they've ever seen. And even calling the movie ironic because it has so many bright colors and sounds, it made it difficult for people on the spectrum to even watch it. And to choose someone that's not on the spectrum to play the main character when there were so many options just seemed like a smack in the face to an entire community. And when they called Sia out, she said, hold up, man, y'all just hate. And I had a few people up in there that was doing their thing. Y'all just mad I ain't cast y'all. Actually, the movie did so bad and got so much hate, it got endorsed by an anti-company that's against people on the spectrum. And because of all this hate and being labeled an ableist, Sia decided to take a step back and go to rehab. And is now better and still performing, but people never really forgave her.
Protect the children, right? Protect the children, right? Even with legislation regarding child performers, protect the children, right? People were more upset about the movie, and I'm not taking away from the outrage behind that movie because the outrage should have been there, but they were more upset about the movie than the contract that Maddie was in. Now, before you go, but she came from Dance Moms, and did you see her? But protect the children, right? Because if Maddie were to take a turn and go down the wrong road, and no, I'm not wishing this upon anyone, all the criticism would be on Maddie. Why didn't she get her life together? Why didn't she step away? Why didn't somebody step in and get her? Why? When too many times it's watched happen. It's okay because this person is eccentric. It's okay because this person is giving them an opportunity. But when someone is poor, those opportunities are seen for what they are. Because please tell me, and no, I'm not saying that anything explicit under the clothing happened, but go with me. If you notice that a teacher is buying a student iPhones, iPads, lunch every day, you know something's up. If a youth pastor is doing something, if the neighborhood auntie or uncle is doing something, you catch on to it. But when it's a celebrity, especially a white celebrity, all of a sudden it's okay. Exactly, Jared. A lot of people heard about the movie. Now, I remember the music video, and I remember I'm not a big award show person. But some way, somehow, I stumbled upon an award show, and I remember Maddie performing. And there was like a lot of discourse going on regarding Dance Mom. And I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, she has this opportunity to perform on a grander stage. Great, great, great. Then clips online, I'm starting to notice every time it's a Sia song, this young lady is performing. So I'm like, maybe this is from her social media account. Maybe she's just a huge Sia fan, and that's how she got on Sia's radar. Maybe like this is her shtick. Like when Justin Bieber was doing a lot of covers of Usher, et cetera, and got on their radar. And I'm like, no, this is official stuff. Nobody bat an eye. Just like the criticism that JoJo Siwa gets right now, because she has no direction, because they were more concerned about commodifying her and pushing her this way and just putting her in the hands of handlers. And now she's being criticized for the position she was put in. Y'all remember the Coreys and how people criticize them for their drug addiction, for their mental health issues, and not criticizing the adults that drove them to those points. Society has a disturbing attachment to protecting abusers and blaming victims. And if it's not blaming victims, it's just going to blame women. Because please, I want somebody to explain it to me, and explain it to me like I'm a 2-year-old seeing the world for the first time. How everyone is conditioned to believe that women are weak, women are overly negatively emotional and emotion driven, and can't be leaders and can't do this, but let any and everything go wrong. It's the woman's fault. It's the woman's responsibility. Why didn't the woman do this? Why didn't the woman raise the man? Why didn't the woman protect the man? Why didn't the woman handle the household? But I thought we were supposed to be led. Why didn't the child know better than the adult? Why wasn't the civilian more ice? Why didn't the civilian have more ice in their veins than the cop? Now, still on the entertainment front, there is an inauguration happening on Monday. I will not be not streaming it or watching it or anything like that. I may stream some other things that day. Not quite sure yet. But let's get caught up on who's going to be tickling the ivories and irritating our ears if you choose to watch.
Gavin DeGraw? Are you telling me that I can't listen to this music any longer? All I have to do is look at this and I know I won't.
It turns out Carrie Underwood is not the only country star performing during President Trump's inauguration festivities this weekend. 3 more major acts have joined the bill, and we have got to talk about it. First, and by far least surprising, is Jason Aldean. Aldean has been supporting Trump from day one, and he's been present at some of the biggest events in the president's campaign. In fact, I still haven't gotten over this photo of Trump and Aldean back at the Wisconsin rally, which happened right after the attempt on the president's life. This is like one of the first things we saw after Trump was back on national TV. And next, we have Rascal Flatts, the recently reunited Rascal Flatts, who have a tour happening very soon. And again, not a real surprise here. Gary LeVox performed back at the Veterans Inaugural Ball in 2017. Rascal Flatts wasn't together at the time, but now they are. But by far most surprising, and for no political reasons whatsoever, is Billy Ray Cyrus, who's joining Kid Rock and the Village People at a rally the night before the inauguration. I get why Kid's there, I get why the Village People are there. What has Billy got to do with this? Regardless, this has started a lot of conversations, like John Rich demanding that other country stars come out in support of President Trump. What do you make of all this? Comment below and let me know.
Why is this surprising? Why is it shocking? And Billy Ray Cyrus isn't a shocker. He's a groomer. Well documented, out in the open, public groomer. Everything isn't political. Everybody that aligns themselves with Trump isn't for political gain. I need y'all to get that through your head. But why is this a shocker? See, I know a lot of people like to push back and say white privilege doesn't exist. That is the epitome of white privilege, for you to look at a white person, knowing that white people are inherently racist, that are indoctrinated from the cradle to the grave into racism, that have to fight every day to push against the addiction that is racism. And you're shocked when it's told to you, when it's shown to you, when it's exposed to you that a white person aligns with a racist. You've been asking for decades how Nazi Germany could happen. You're living it. You're living it, because when you deny what's going on around you and you choose to take your head, bury it in the sand, and stick your fingers in your ear and go la 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 to everything going on, yeah, it's no different than the awakening, or the pseudo awakening, the almost awakening that some white people are having now that they've gone over to the Red Note app. And I'm not going to go into that anymore, because that I wrote about over on Substack. Link is in the bio. Click and do all the things and go over there and you can see that. But yeah, that is part of the epitome of white privilege. You are comfortable and you have the ability to not pay attention, and you look at the status quo. Did you really think that people a part of the whole Good Old Boys Country Music Network that made fun of black people, blackballed black country music artists, tried to tell us that country music isn't our thing and we shouldn't be a part of it, while simultaneously telling us, talking about races, that's what's dividing us, weren't going to be racist and weren't going to be there for Trump? People who have stood on the CMT stage and acted out racist skits and participated in racist jokes, you're shocked that they're willing to perform? Before you go, well, I was shocked because they didn't perform for him on the campaign trail, and they also didn't say he couldn't use their music. See, they are strategic, just like back in Nazi Germany, just like with Mussolini. They sit back and wait to see who's going to be in power, because the one in power gives them increased comfort and protection. Now it's safe to come out and say what they want to say. Trump stood at the helm of a fervently white supremacist rally in Madison Square Garden, and there was no real backlash. You want to know what the most successful protest has been recently? The pilgrimage to Red Note. And that's because all you had to do was point, click, shift, put in your phone number, and put in a code. Because you didn't even have to put all the bells and whistles up on your profile. The United States is a nation of somebody else do it for me. And by somebody else do it for me, it's, hey, blackies, darkies, brownies, come do it for me. I'm going to shit on you afterwards. And what you fight for, I'm going to make sure you don't get. Jared, a lot of people said that they were shocked by the Village People, but I think that they forgot about the Village People's very public endorsement of Trump, and they're forgetting that log cabin Republicans exist. Even though log cabin Republicans have been removed from the official GOP platform, a lot of times they are excluded from things. The one thing that people know that they can have above anything else, they can closet their sexuality, but they believe that conservatism gives them a seat at the proverbial table, gives them a bit of moral high ground over other people. Because even people that are like, oh, I'm agnostic, I'm atheist, I'm blah, 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 they still care about the moral hierarchy. The United States has a lot of conditioning on a lot of levels and a lot of areas going on all at once. It is a tsunami of indoctrination. So it's like, you might think that I'm a demon and I'm going to hell, but I'm a conservative. So that means I'm better than blah, 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 blah. This is why they're not pointing out the hypocrisy of what many would contend is an iconic gay anthem being the theme song of MAGA. That would be like me taking to all of my social media platforms going, my new theme song is Try That in a Small Town by Jason Aldean. Yeah. And no one saying anything. Everybody going, yes, girl, yes, great choice, great. Oh, yeah, that fits you perfectly. Woohoo! She knows how to pick them. Because it's all about playing a character. That's why I think it's funny. I saw an ad for a new social media app called Be Real, where they're like, everybody's fake online. It's time to get real. People have been fake since they left MySpace. That's why people are shocked when you get genuine people online. I can tell you how many times people are shocked, like, oh shit, you are the same way offline that you are online, because I'm not an actress. I'm animated, but I'm not an actress. This is it. This is me. This is what you get, okay? I don't have the energy or the bandwidth to play a character, okay? the autism, yeah, baby, But, people are like, oh, let's get back to being real. No, they're going to curate, because before we had social media, people were already faking it to never make it. How many people were raised to, you don't do that in front of company. Don't do that out in public. We don't say that out here. You got to dress a certain way. How many people have had to deconstruct themselves out of not wearing certain jewelry certain places, not wearing certain clothing choices certain places? I saw a post the other day where a young lady was trying to shame a mother. Now, there is some loungewear. Some people are like, oh, this is 100% pajamas, and it's not. Like, I have some Vera Wang outfits that some people are like, oh, that's they're not. Like, they're just velour, they're comfy. And she had on like the UGG slippers that are floofy. This is going to sound classist, and I realize it's going to sound classist. There are certain things that when you're getting the knockoffs, and no, I'm not being disrespectful or anything. When you get the knockoffs are used as house slippers for this or that. But the actual luxury brand, it's loungewear to go outside. It's made for that. It's when you get that actual brand, like, the thickness, like there's a real soul on it. But she was trying to shame this one, like, oh, this is how we're going to the doctor's office. Please explain to me, who set the standard that we're supposed to get dressed up to go to the doctor's office? Because what do we do when we get to the doctor's office? We take shit off. Just like traveling. Why are we getting dressed up to travel? We talk about how disgusting headrests are and everything else, but you're going to dog somebody out who covers their hair so that they don't get lice. After we've watched lice epidemic after lice epidemic after lice epidemic on airplanes, on trains, etc. Why are we getting dressed up for people? For what? It's not a runway. And then we're always talking about, in this economy, everything costs so much. Yeah. But it's about looking better, feeling better than someone else. It's about putting on a front, looking like you have money, looking like this. Baby, let me explain something to you. The people with the most money look the most broke, because the most expensive clothes look like something you could get out of Walmart. It's just the quality of the stitching, the quality of the fabric is going to be better. But the clothes are clothes are clothes. A purse is a purse is a purse. You can't, there's only so many ways to make something. This is why now when you talk about a polo shirt, you're not necessarily talking about Polo the designer. You're talking about a style of shirt that you can get at any price point. Any price point. And the people most worried about how they look dripping in this and dripping in that have the least amount of money. I tell people all the time, if you really want to know if somebody has money or not, look at their skin. They'll have horrible teeth, clear skin, unless they have a skin condition, and the eyes will be hit or miss. These will be people who will drag their feet paying simple bills, but will run up a tab buying shit they don't need that they're probably going to donate somewhere. And the older the money, the more they do it. You were doing so well today. Now you're being a crackhead. Not y'all, puppers. Now, people have short memories. We're gonna stay in the entertainment field just a little bit longer. Bear with me. We're gonna cross over to more politics, but y'all know sometimes it's a slow walk with me, but it's worth it. Okay, we're gonna take this walk on the beach. It's gonna be good. There's a conversation about Ariana Grande coming up because people seem to have forgotten the method, the road to success that Gwen Stefani took. If you're confused by what I mean, take a look.
She went from this to now this. And when it becomes beneficial to her career, and it will, she will rebrand herself as white.
Okay, I'm going to use the NBA to explain why white women hate being called white. White women are very upset with me right now because that video I posted in 2021 is resurfacing. I think for obvious reasons, because I was right. Ariana Grande did in fact rebrand herself as white when it was beneficial to her career. I'm not the only one who predicted this. Anyway, white women are pissed. So let's talk about why I think that is. First, let's look at some of the comments I've received in the last 24 hours and then we're going to break this shit down. Strap in, babes. How did I get here? You sound racist AF. You are the problem. White women live in your heads rent free, mind your business. You are the problem, stay in your lane. My personal favorite, this one we're really gonna break down in a second. Everything you said sounds like women being critical of each other. This isn't about color because this issue doesn't exist with men. The power of language is deeply rooted in the colonial structures of dominance and subordination. And these colonial ideologies have historically categorized and ranked people based on their identities, making whiteness and maleness synonymous with universal or neutral, meaning everything else outside of those identities require specification. For example, in sports, this colonial logic positions men's basketball as the baseline and women's basketball as the deviation from the norm. So we start off with the NBA, the National Basketball Association, not the MNBA, just NBA. And by linguistically marking the WNBA as women's basketball, society subtly reinforces the idea that the WNBA is some kind of secondary, often even lesser category, a category that requires specification because it doesn't totally align with the default. Picking up what I'm putting down. So inherently that classification reflects patriarchal systems of power, which have historically excluded and minimized women's participation in life in general and of course in sports. Keep following. So the unmarked status of NBA perpetuates the perception that the NBA is real basketball, positioning anything else as some sort of deviation from that. Case in point, this is a comment I got literally 2 hours ago, unprovoked. No one cares about women's basketball. There's so many ridiculous reasons why people feel that way, but the colonial and patriarchal impact on language is one of those reasons. Bringing this back to white women, whiteness, much like masculinity, has long been treated as the default racial identity, which is why white people in general, but white women, don't like being called white. It disrupts their unmarked status and forces the acknowledgement of their position within racial hierarchies. They don't like that. It's also why naming whiteness, naming maleness can be seen as a little bit of an act of resistance against colonialism and patriarchal structures and grants equal linguistic status to marginalized identities. Now let's take it a step further and address this comment. Refresh, everything you said sounds like women being critical of each other. This isn't about color because this is not an issue that men have to deal with. The dynamic of white women centering their gender over their race, specifically in conversations about power and inequality, is deeply rooted in the intersections of white supremacy and patriarchy. White women often align themselves with their gender discrimination while distancing themselves from the privileges they hold as white people. And this is why they hate conversations about cultural appropriation, or frequently respond to those conversations by saying, why do you make everything about race? Like, not everything is about race. It's just hair. They do that to dismiss the issue and reframe it as purely one of gender solidarity, which is typical. They've done that historically. For example, the first couple of waves of feminism. Yeah. So because their whiteness operates as an unmarked category similar to masculinity for men, it allows them to navigate the world without ever having to think about or talk about their race, without ever being really reminded of their race. So when race is named, it disrupts the narrative of universal womanhood that so many white women hold dear to their hearts. Anyway, that's why white women hate being called white. So as an act of resistance today, name a white woman's whiteness, call a white woman white, and just see what happens. Be prepared for them to call you racist and get really upset. Like, be prepared, I'm telling you. Like, have some fun with it.
Y'all know me. Y'all know me, right? So you know we're going to take this a step further. White women, specifically those that are choosing not to deconstruct, do so because they need to keep themselves cemented as the default damsel in distress. And how do they do that? By always protecting their proximity to power, which is their whiteness. This is why white women will always view themselves as the standard for femininity. And this is why they will perpetuate and push forward femininity over everything else. And this is also why Ariana Grande is very talented. Gwen Stefani, great songwriter. But that alone wasn't setting them apart. Okay? Because you have artists like Mariah Carey that have a little spice in their DNA and in their phenotype. They needed to be that spicy white, that ambiguous ethnicity to press forward, because nothing is more popular than a white person speaking on race, whether positively, negatively, lying about it, or being truthful about it, or a white person who seemingly can go in and out of Black spaces and be accepted by Black people, by Asian people, by indigenous people, by brown people. But when they hit that status that they feel that this is where they belong, then it's okay to be white. Then it's okay to be white. It's also okay to be comfortable in wealth, because before that, you need to be a little spicy white and broke, even if you're not truly broke. Because remember, Taylor Swift came out, oh, I had to get it out the mud and just poor little girl with my guitar playing country music. Baby girl ain't had a broke day in her life. When she hit a certain status, it was okay. Because as long as you get to a point where other white women feel like they can live vicariously through you, it's all good. It's all good. You have to place yourself as the standard of white womanhood, which means you're the standard, you're the societal standard for womanhood. And they're not going to talk about race because they only want to talk about unifying when they need benefit. Yeah, I agree. The WNBA versus NBA thing, it was not the best analogy. But I'll leave that there when it comes to that creator. But yeah. Now, you have white women who are honest that other people wanted them to do that because other people didn't believe in them. If you think I'm joking, y'all should know me better than this. You know the artist Pink. When we were first introduced to Pink, she sounded like a hip-hop girly from round the way. She was Jenny from the block. She never wanted to make music like that. She's good at it. You go to her show, she'll still do, some of her greatest hits. But what she's doing now, she'll tell you, this is what I always wanted to do. This is what I set out to do. Other people said, hey, for you to break in and get to that status, this is the road that you need to go to. Everybody will accept you if you're this way. And this is why you also see a morphing in women who can use colorism to their benefit that may not be white, whether by race, ethnicity, or phenotype. Because people have it in their mind that if Black people can do it, it's easy to do. So if you can appear to be mastering it, whoo, honey, you're going to go far. You're going to be popular. Because why do you think white men and women and non-binary individuals can get on the internet and say the exact same things that you hear Black people say and get huge followings and endorsement deals, and people listen to them as if it's their lived experience? This is why even when we point out that somebody has taken what we've said word for word, bar for bar, they'll try to twist it. Like, no, they posted it at 2:22. I mean, I know it looks like you posted it at 2:18 3 days before, but I don't think they know who you were. And we've also watched large white creators get caught up because they kind of got set up. They said some shit they shouldn't have said. But Now, it's promised. Now I know Social Security is a hot topic right about now, for good reason. But I want to bring you some news regarding Social Security, news that you could actually use. Coming from the Associated Press, U.S. recovers $31 million in federal payments to dead people. How about we recover the payments to the white people that are rich, that find a loophole where they never pay into Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, but then they draw upon it when they don't need it? Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that. My bad. I suffer from this disease called, I'm going to tell you the fucking truth. Let's get into it. The U.S. government clawed back more than $31 million in federal payments that improperly went to dead people, a recovery that one official said Wednesday was just the tip of the iceberg. The money was reclaimed as a part of a 5-month pilot program after Congress gave the Department of Treasury temporary access to the Social Security Administration's full death master file for 3 years as a part of the Omnibus Appropriations Bill in 2021. The SSA maintains the most complete federal database of individuals who have died, and the file contains more than 142 million records, which go back to 1899, according to the Treasury. So, U.S. government, does that mean you'll restore my podcast that you pulled off the air when we talked about this? No? Okay. The Treasury projects that it will recover more. The Treasury projects that it will recover more than $215 million during its 3-year access period, which runs from December 2023 through 2026. These results are just the tip of the iceberg, the Treasury's Fiscal Assistant Secretary David LeBrick said in a news release. He urged Congress to give the Treasury full access to the master file, saying it would significantly reduce fraud, improve program integrity, and better safeguard taxpayer dollars. I'm gonna give you two guesses. Who do you think? Who do you think was drawing checks on dead people? And before you go, Taz, you're making it about race. Oh, that's so racist. That because who do you think would be able to walk into a Social Security office and be believed? Who do you think would get the least amount of questions? So who do you think was doing this? Because trust and believe, if it was us, This article would have pictures. This article would be talked about. It wouldn't just be an article. It would be breaking news, local to international. Because this would be the ultimate confirmation bias that they needed. This is no different than when welfare fraud is uncovered all over this decrepit nation. It's not global or even national news on a wide scale, because when the photos come out, they ain't us. And once again, for anybody that was not here at the top of the show, just to let you know, Joseph Robinette Biden has decided at 11:59 to state that he will not be enforcing, the administration will not be enforcing the TikTok ban. They're pulling what I call a Reagan reverse, because it's happening, now. They're going to leave it up to Trump. Hey, throw it to Trump. I mean, it's a campaign promise. He should work it out. He got to work it out. Now, many people have at this point probably heard that Blake Lively decided to sue Justin Baldoni regarding what she claims happened on the set of the movie that they did together. Now, Baldoni recently stated that he wanted information, footage, etc. from the latest Deadpool movie because of a particular character that Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively's husband, put in the movie that a lot of people were like, this is clearly mocking you. Now, TikTok being what TikTok is, they became the investigators and the legal team to help Baldoni put together tons of clips, social media posts, liked comments, like you name it. They was like, we got comments, screenshots, videos. And Baldoni, coming from the Associated Press, Justin Baldoni sues Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds for $400 million in new step in It Ends With Us fight. In It Ends With Us, actor and director Justin Baldoni has sued his co-star Blake Lively and her husband, Deadpool actor Ryan Reynolds, for defamation and extortion on Thursday in the latest move in a bitter legal battle surrounding the dark romantic drama. Reading two things at once, my apologies. The suit filed in federal court in New York by Baldoni and production company Wayfarer Studios seeks at least $400 million for damages that include lost future income. Now, Blake Lively said that she was suing because of harassment, etc., and hits to her reputation. Sweetheart, nobody can do more to your reputation than you already have done. You're not a nice person. You're not a talented actress. You're not talented. And your beauty is starting to slip. You wanted to be the director of the film and you thought that you could strong arm your way in. And this was a horrific move. It was. But what do we learn, class, about white women? They are the most dangerous creatures on the planet. And when I tell you all that a non-deconstructing white woman has no friends, she has nothing but enemies and pawns, and those that can be sacrificed, I mean it. I mean it. Now, before I let you go, y'all remember the classic TV show, All in the Family? Now, we already know that Norman Lear had a knack for taking credit for things that he did not come up with, things that he did not cultivate. But he slapped his name on it, and he got the biggest piece of the pie. Add All in the Family to that list. Don't take my word for it.
So you got on All in the Family. That was created by Norman Lear.
No.
Oh, it wasn't?
No.
I thought it was.
No, he's gone, and I feel very safe in telling you that the reason that I wasn't a huge fan of his
okay,
is because he told the world that it was his show, that he created it. But
Oh.
it was Carol O'Connor who saw it in England.
Carol O'Connor.
Who played Archie Bunker. And Carol came home and got together with a friend of his who was a full-fledged writer. And said, let's Americanize this series from England called Till Death Do Us Part.
Yeah. Wow.
Which was All in the Family in England.
Okay.
And let's see if we can get it going here in America.
Yeah.
So they wrote script, but they didn't have the producer power money to
make it happen.
So after shopping it around for a while, it wound up in Norman's hands.
Yeah.
And Norman pretended for the next 52 years that he
That it was
created it.
his.
It was Carol O'Connor
Wow.
who wrote it,
Right.
was a writing partner.
Wow.
Then the press would ask him in the early days, how did you cast this? Where did you find Carol O'Connor? And he would say, I just went out and looked for the best actor in America. Carol was already part and parcel with it.
He like created it.
Let me just say, I know that there are other conversations with out there. I will always be the OG. And dates don't lie. You can scroll back to the beginning if you want to. But the way of the United States is steal, kill, and destroy. Now, also, before I leave you with these last two videos, also regarding TikTok, if you do want to make a pilgrimage over to another platform, Blue Sky is great. It's great for DMing, stuff like that. And you can share from other platforms onto Blue Sky, even if you want to put up like longer videos or whatever. I've tested it out myself. But it has been brought to my attention, and there's a video at the very, very top of this podcast, if you want to scroll back and watch it, from my friend Joey Helpish, where he explains that this platform here is beginning to look like the early iterations with some tweaks of TikTok. You can video respond to comments, all the comments. You can put hyperlinks in where people don't have to copy and paste. They can click on it and go straight through it. You can duet, you can stitch, you can do all the things. Only thing you cannot do is DM. That's why I brought up Blue Sky, so you can use it in combination. So make sure, if you're not subscribed to your favorite creators, make sure you subscribe. And there is a lower threshold for being able to go live over here, and a lower threshold to be able to monetize. So keep that in mind if that's what you want to do. Now I'm going to leave you in closing with two videos. One, a little scuttlebutt regarding Miss Muscatini. Yeah, Elon's mama. And some tips for Red Note should you be over on that app. As always, thank you for joining me, and each one teach one, each one reach one. And I know last night I was supposed to bring you all lies about Black people. I'm going to deliver that to you all tomorrow. Yesterday, your girl was just tired. I went to sleep. That's it. Nothing spectacular, but there it is. But do keep in mind, I do have open discussions, classes. There is an additional book club that will be happening on Zoom. It is free. Don't worry about that. Y'all know, try to do the best that I can. And I do have a brand new Substack that's up and going. So get into some good trouble and be good at it. Till next time.
Do you guys know Elon Musk's mother lives in Shanghai, and she has a Red Note account for almost 1 year? That's funny. That's ironic.
From a TikTok refugee on Xiaohongshu or Red Note caught my attention today. It said, please be respectful of the existing ecosystem here because we're coming to use their app. I've seen many comments similar to this one, insert. I definitely really appreciate how y'all are being very respectful and polite. And I just wanted to explain the ecosystem a little bit to those of you who share the same sentiment. Firstly, when the app first got started years ago, the majority of the users were women. That's changed a bit now, but people like to address one another still as 姐妹 or sister in the comment section. Like, sister, that's such a cute phone case. Where'd you get that? And things like that. So if you don't identify as a sister, don't be offended. That's just an endearing way of how we address another stranger on this platform. And also, you will notice a lot of women empowerment related posts for this reason. Secondly, the app mostly focuses on lifestyle content like food, travel, beauty, pets, music, all kinds of hobbies, gardening, home decor, relationship advice, job advice, etc. So yes, you can talk about, Luigi without calling him Mario's brother, or you can talk about drones without dubbing them Dior bags. But, political topics really isn't the main focus of this platform. Thirdly, this app is fully based in China, so it has to comply with Chinese laws. Therefore, don't smoke weed on camera. That's completely illegal. Don't do that. Also things like astrology, tarot card reading, or giving financial/investment advice, that kind of content can get flagged easily depending on your wording. Because the government doesn't want scammers, defrauding its people. Hence, it's put out a lot of, guidelines on information dissemination in this space.